Ginger will help you deal with your nausea instead of you going to look for some tablets that you have to spend so much money and deal with so many side effects. People are not eating right. They're not eating quality food. They're not taking their fruits and vegetables and getting their vitamins and their nutrients. And those are the building blocks that the body really needs to be able to maintain our health. Because if you give the body the right nutrients, it will heal itself. If you can grow flowers in containers, you can grow food in containers. And then I tell people, horizontal space, which is the ground, is very limited. But vertical space is practically unlimited. So I tell people the fence in your wall, in your house, your fencing, you can turn them into landscape.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Chatting with the Experts. My show is a weekly one in which I highlight women from Africa, from the Caribbean, and in the diaspora. These women are entrepreneurial, successful entrepreneurs, or they're professional women. And the mission of this show is to educate, to empower, and inspire women globally. I have sometimes had a few men join us, but for the most part, it's always women. So the title of today's show is Healing with Food and Nature. And my guest will be telling you, or we'll be talking about how the food you eat or do not eat and the environment in which you live can cause you disease or it can heal you. So we'll explore how to optimize your health with food and nature. With me to do that is Dr. Stella Iwagu, and she is a public health professional founder and executive director of Center for the Right to Health. It's a Nigerian-based nonprofit organization, and she's a garden enthusiast as well as an entrepreneur. There's so much more I can tell you, but I always love my guests to talk about themselves on this show and to introduce themselves. And so with that, I will welcome Dr. Stella to Chatting with the Experts.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Stella. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you too.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I introduced you, and every time I introduce my guests, I get so excited. So that I just give a snippet of their bio. So can you, is there anything I left out? Is there anything that you'd have liked me to add?
No, you said it all. Just like you said, I'm a Nigerian. I'm the Executive Director Center for the Right to Health. I'm also a farmer and a nature enthusiast.
A nature enthusiast, yeah. And something that I didn't mention, you may, as the conversation continues, is that you initiated a sustainable demonstration farm or farms. And right? Am I correct?
Yeah, some time ago, I think I actually went home to Nigeria after I used to work as an assistant professor at Cleveland State University. But a tragedy where I lost my younger sister to the health challenges in Nigeria, overwhelmed my family, and I have to go back home to Nigeria with intent of working to see what I can do to improve the health system. However, I also started a homestead garden that I was growing just to nurture myself. But gradually I came to find out that Nigerians are so unhealthy, and a lot of it has to do with the food they are eating and the ones they are also not eating. And with the overwhelming number of persons that are ill, there's no way doctors and nurses could cope and provide quality health care. So I started thinking, what can we do to reduce the disease burden, especially chronic diseases in Nigeria? People are aging, they're falling prey to a lot of chronic diseases, and the doctors are overwhelmed. So I thought that food is a major determinant of our health. Our environment is also a major determinant of our health. And those are the two things that are crucially poor in Nigeria. People are not eating right. They're not eating quality food. They're not taking their fruits and vegetables and getting their vitamins and their nutrients. And those are the building blocks that the body really needs to be able to maintain our health. Because if you give the body the right nutrients, it will heal itself. Then I also noticed something really heartbreaking. Most of the food that are grown with chemicals. Every farmer is carrying knapsack left and right. And there is basically no training on how to use these things safely. And so you find that a lot of the, even when you use, even over here, we already know that most of these chemicals are carcinogenic and cause a lot of challenges. And then even when you use it, there is a certain number of days you need to give before you can harvest for it to be safe for human consumption. But who is educating them about this? So you find out that the food that people are eating is causing a lot of harm to them. We're having high level of chronic conditions like cancers, liver issues, kidney issues, and then this is really causing a major challenge in the health of the population. So the environment is then, of course, it is not only in the food, it is also in the environment. There's so much toxins. Every house has a generator, the vehicles are there, nobody checks for emission. And so you can't run away from it. The mechanics pour diesels and engine oil in the gutters and the ground all over. So the groundwater is contaminated, the air is contaminated, the food is contaminated. So little wonder that we have the kind of health challenges we have. And then the noise pollution, the stress and tension, the criminality, just it's very overwhelming. And all these environmental issues have challenges. They impact the free radicals, they bombard our cells and cause denaturing of those cells. And when the cells are denatured, they become abnormal and they start rapid multiplication. And when cells are feeling like they're about to die, they don't just die, they begin rapid multiplication. And what they are multiplying is not normal cells, it is abnormal cells that actually cause a lot of the organs to not function right. That's why you have high incidence of cancers and inflammations. And of course, the body would come into defense to try to get rid of these denatured or diseased cells. But what now happens, the body goes into chronic inflammation. Inflammation is a good thing when it limits the damage to the cells. But when the damage is occurring at a higher rate than the body can actually take care of, then you have chronic inflammation. So your body is in a chronic state of inflammation. And that is what is causing all the arthritis and, a combination of the cellular denaturing, which is leading to the cancers and cells. And then the food also people are eating, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the liver issues. So people are just dealing with a lot of chronic conditions. And when you look at the immune cells, when take two instances, two persons, one is eating right and is in a good environment, the other is not. They'll be bitten by the same diseased mosquito. One person, or they will drink the same unsafe water. The one with a healthy immune system is not likely to succumb to any illness. But the one with an unhealthy immune system will succumb to many illnesses.
Yes.
So little wonder that when people are living, and most people, this is the environment, everybody's breathing the same air anyway. And all of this makes makes the citizen chronically sick.
Yes.
And then something personal also happened to me that sealed my conviction that food is indeed medicine.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. You see, I had a spinal cord injury from an accident in 2007 when I went to Nigeria to do my dissertation. The same Nigeria.
Same
I went back to
Nigeria.
the accident because the roads are poor and even if I had had that accident in America, I wouldn't have become paraplegic because it affected my spinal cord injury. They would have known what to do at the right time and they would have had the equipment to do it here. But they didn't. In Nigeria, I was seriously mismanaged.
Oh my gosh.
They couldn't even do what they're supposed to do for me, and they did the things they're not supposed to do, which complicated my case.
Yes.
Eventually, they had to fly me to Ghana. It was in Ghana that they did the surgery to decompress my spinal cord. So I became paraplegic and wheelchair bound. It's actually one of the reasons I stayed back in America to, take a job, because my intention was actually to go back home because I love Nigeria and I want to be part of the change makers. But when my sister died, I know that I can't stay back. I had to go back and get in the trenches and do what I need to do. I wasn't even afraid of dying anymore. Because of my spinal cord injury, almost every organ in my body had a doctor. I was on several medications. I was on about 21 different medicines 3 times a day. So, but I took a leap of faith and still went home. I had devices that needs to be refueled. I have a baclofen pump. I have a spinal stimulator. All of this equipment, I need to get them refueled on a regular basis. But I still went home anyway.
That
Everybody
shows your
knows.
passion for home.
That's my passion for change. That's because I really believe I can make a difference. I can contribute. I have all these ideas that are sitting in my head and burning holes through my head, yet I can't do really much with it over here. So when I went home, what I did, of course, noticing the food landscape, I wasn't confident eating food from the market. So I started a garden. Even in America, I grow my own garden. Some of
Wow.
my friends, I have 5 apple trees, I have 2 pear trees, I have 2 plum, and I grow vegetables around my trees. So my house is a foodscape. So I started the same initiative in my house in Nigeria. And the
Okay.
goal was to just grow my food. So I was growing food, my vegetables. I planted fruit trees, the all dwarf trees. So I had every fruit tree you could think of. I had vegetables of every size, of every type. I have herbs. And I started growing my chicken, growing my snail, a little bit of fish. So I was living sustainably, and every morning I go out there, feed my rabbits, interact with my fishes. It's just, oh, it's like eating. And then
Oh,
I'll pluck my orange trees, my lemongrass, and everything. I'll pull them together, I'll boil them, I'll make my tea, I blend them, I make my smoothie. Every food I'm eating have vegetables and fruits as an important component of it.
so
And then
now
of
you're
course,
telling us all of that. You're getting me hungry.
yes. Oh,
You-
when people come to my house, and the best part, I had mushrooms too. I was growing mushrooms,
Wow.
and just, oh God, I had the best time.
Oh.
And guess what? My body started healing itself to the glory of God. God did
Mm.
it because all
Mm.
these initiatives are God's initiative, God's insight.
Yes.
But I followed through and healing started happening. I was stronger. I was losing weight. The pain was gone. I was getting off my pain medicines. And before you know what is to say, Jack, I was on 3 medicines instead of 21 medicines.
That is remarkable. That so
Very, very remarkable.
can I
I
stop
was
you here
so,
just
yeah.
for 1 second? Because I'm thinking you're doing all of that in the ground that, we said is pollutant because we have, the diesel and generators and we have mechanics pouring diesel and other waste products in the ground into the drinking water. How did you achieve that? Or you weren't in the city?
Well, no, I was in the city. All of this is happening in the city. A lot of the pollution is more predominantly in the city.
Okay.
But I was in the outskirts of the city.
Oh, now.
Yes. As a matter of fact, my land used to be a refuse dump. So what I did, I cleaned out all the plastics, I cleaned out all the rubbles, and there were potholes in the land. I
Mhm.
just built a small cottage house. So all the rubbles and rubbish, I use them to feel like a landfill. I use it to fill all the potholes. And then I
Oh,
covered in the pathways and roadways around the house and around
okay.
the farm. So and I covered it with topsoil and with
Mm.
red soil to make the roads. And I brought in topsoil and put in there. And then I got, from the fish, from the chicken, from the goats, I was getting a lot of manure. I was composting. So
Oh,
all of this is generating new soil. By this time, I have removed all the plastics out of the ground. So I had to do a lot of reclaiming. of the soil, and I started growing things there, and they were doing so well, and I was eating so healthy, and all these changes happened to my body for good. So that food is, I mean, I always know that food is medicine. But it's really almost like a theoretical concept. When I personally experienced it, it's no more a cliche anymore. It became a reality, and it became a living passion.
For you.
That your body can heal itself if you give it the right food. That you can live disease free. It's actually possible to live disease free. The body is a regenerative machine, it can regenerate. But then, if you don't pay attention, all the thing we call about aging and all of that, it is really the environment. It's really all those free radicals that are destroying our cells. It's really the anxiety, the loneliness, and all that is really very degenerative. But when you're in an environment where you have nature, the trees are there giving you loads of oxygen, taking away all the carbon dioxide that you're excreting, is cleansing. You're breathing cleansed air. So it's almost like you're in an oxygen tent because you have all this foliage. Then you are touching the ground. Your feet is touching the ground. You're connecting with earth. And you don't have to go to the gym to do exercise when you garden.
Love it.
You know? And then you're interacting. You know that in America, when there's an epidemic, what do? When there's a disaster, like all those hurricanes and stuff. I remember I experienced it in Carbondale, and I saw these people with their dogs, and they also come to the hospital, pet therapy. They bring their dog, they allow you to pet their dog, and you find yourself calming down. Mm-hmm. So animals themselves help us to calm down. When I carry my rabbit and pet my rabbit, oh, I'm in second heaven. You know, that's why those that have pets seems to do better than those that don't. But I had all of these animals that I love. I sit and watch my goat jump around. I wake up in the morning, I have to feed the fish. And then even beyond the house, of course. So what started as a passion and as a homestead thing slowly became a business, because now people come to my house and they'll say, oh my God, Stella, you're living my dream. Can you come and make my house like this? And I started going to landscape people's house. And that brought me to the concept of edible landscaping, which I call ediscape.
So let's talk about that, because that was a question I had, what exactly and how do we, let's say, what exactly is edible landscape? Let's start with that, and then we can talk about how we can, in our own little spaces, start doing that for us.
It's really growing what you eat. Letting you, I have nothing against flowers. I love flowers. But how do you plant flowers and then you go to the store and buy poison to eat? So edible landscaping is just using edible food, edible things to beautify your landscape.
Okay. So you're saying like, okay, mine is not possible. I was gonna say I like grapes. I like mandarins. So like planting those.
Grapes. Is it grapefruit or grapes? If it is grapes, like I tell people, you can grow things if you can grow flowers in containers, you can grow food in containers. Okay. And then I tell people, horizontal space, which is the ground, is very limited. So but vertical space is practically unlimited. So I tell people, the fence in your wall, in your house, your fencing, you can turn them into landscape. Your roof, the wall of your house, you can turn them into, you can plant crawling and climbing plants, zucchinis, ugu, all the things that can trail, tomatoes that can actually trail on your wall. You can plant around, and you don't need a lot. Papaya takes very little space and they're so beautiful.
Coconuts. Really? They don't take much space.
They don't take much space. And within 6 to 9 months, you're harvesting them. There are dwarf bananas, So my house is like a holiday resort. It's like a tropical dream. It's a tropical scape. So that is the concept. And then I also have a concept I call mediscape.
Mediscape. So there's edible landscaping. Now there's mediscape.
Landscaping or ediscape. And then we have medical landscaping, which is also called mediscape. And mediscape is really about herbs.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Yes. So when you have, maybe you've eaten a little bit too much, you have indigestion, what do? You reach for Tums, right? You have to go to the
Yes.
chemist or the pharmacy store to get for Tums. But if you have mint growing in a pot, you know, either in your balcony or even in your home or outside, what do? You pick some mint. I remember when they garnish your food, when restaurants garnish your food with mint and spearmint and all of those things, herbs that are edible. It's used to cleanse your palate. So instead of looking for those things you want to get it right into some mint or make a mint tea and drink your mint tea and you find out
Okay.
that it relieves your gas and stuff. The same thing, scent leaf. In Igbo, we call it nchuanwu. Scent leaf is also a kind of the African basil. That is the lemongrass. There are plants that actually drive away pests. But
Yes.
every day we are busy spraying more chemicals to kill pests and also pollute our environment when we can plant lavenders, rosemaries, lemongrass,
Yes.
mint, spearmint, all
I
of these plants, that are very strong smell. They
but
repel
healthy.
insects. Pests don't like them. So why don't you surround your landscape? Why don't you create a landscape, especially when you have a garden? People build beautiful houses and build amazing flower gardens, but they can't go outside to enjoy it because the pests, the mosquitoes and stuff takes over. So
Yeah.
why don't we build those landscapes with? That's what our forefathers did. I remember my grandmother, we had lemongrass, we have scent leaf, we have all these herbs that as hedges around our homes. And then when we had malaria or we had any of the ill or fevers, they will cut some lemongrass. I learned a lot of this also from my mother. You know, I started to have to begin to look back on how our ancestors lived. They lived with nature. They lived in harmony with nature. So the concept of mediscape is to plant some of the herbs, miracle plants, oregano, some things that we call the herbs that we use only for their flavors actually are powerful medicine.
Wow.
Oregano is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. Can you believe all of these anti this in one plant?
Oh, I did not know that.
Something with antibacterial, bitter leaf, our own bitter leaf. Can you believe that I saw bitter leaf capsule in an American store and they're doing all these advertisement made in America? I said, when did America start growing bitter leaf?
Bitter.
They're spending millions for treatment of diabetes. Yet there are plants that actually can bring down your blood sugar. Bitter leaf is one of those plants. Even blood pressure, the king of bitters crushes your blood sugar. And this same plant has antiviral and antibacterial properties.
And we don't know about it.
And we don't know about it. And when we know
So,
about it, we don't take it seriously. In India, in China, the health system integrates both alternative medicine and a regular Western model,
yes, that's true.
allopathic medicine. And that is where they have complementary medicine. But
Yes.
we threw all our own away and call it native doctor. Oh, it is this. They tell you all the scary things that could happen to you when you take them. But when you eat them as food, ginger is anti-inflammatory. Ginger will help you deal with your nausea instead of you going to look for some tablets that you have to spend so much money and deal with so many side effects. The same turmeric. Turmeric has stem cell properties. Turmeric will help with inflammation, with cancer prevention, helps your heart. They package it as cocoamine. And then you have to go to the pharmacy and buy very expensive, yet it is something you can incorporate into your daily nutrition and give your body a boost. Our food should contain the sweet, the savory, the bitter, and the salty to balance. But we tend to eat more of the sugar in everything, particularly the processed sugar.
Yes, that
Then
is
we go into juicing. Oh, do juice. You do the juicing. You do the juice, and then you drink this juice is sugar. You throw away the
and you throw
fiber.
away all the
You throw away the
the
fiber.
fibers.
Rather when you eat an orange, you eat only this juice, and then you throw away the fiber. The goats will rush to it because they know the best thing. We have our herbs in Igbo, we call them motazi, oziza. When a woman gives birth to a baby, they bring Negro peppers and all of that. All of that will help flush the system, detoxify the system. In a few days, you see them bouncing around. Is it you're trying to lactate, do better as a lactating mother? There are herbs. We need to learn from animals, you know? There are
So,
things like, yeah.
my sister, I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, where has she been the last 30 years of my life where I needed all of that? But what I am hearing is that, it's never too late to start.
It's never too late
Never
to
too
start.
late. And we can start where we are. So let's talk about most of us, at least most of the audience I know, are based in the United States, and some we have in the UK. We have a few coming from like Africa, Nigeria for one. But because I'm in the States, I'm going to ask this question. So if I wanted to start like what do we call edible landscape or ediscape, you call it? I like that name, ediscape, edible landscape. Okay, where do I start? Because I was saying to someone, I had another guest on the show, and I was saying that it shocked me that when I went to get organic potting soil, that it wasn't really soil. So where do I start if I am here in America and I want to eat healthy? I want to start planting my own food. Where would you tell me or advise me to start getting soil that I know is not filled with, some chemicals of some sort or processed so that it
If
where
they
do I
if
start?
they call it organic soil, sometimes they use the leaves, that's all like that. Over here, they'll collect the leaves, they'll go compost it, and they'll bring it and compost that, and eventually all those things break down as soil. They break down
Mhm.
as manure, and manure as soil. Add a little soil to it, it becomes soil. And you can also compost. You can start putting away your food scraps and all your garden scraps and put them, and eventually it will become soil. You use it to grow your food. Then you can grow in your container, in your back porch, in your balcony, in your yard. You can grow these things. Start small. Start on the things you can grow your kale, you can grow tomato. I used to tell people, what is the sweetest fruit in the whole world? I say the one you grow yourself. So you can start small and see what works. There's a lot of DIY programs. You can grow in containers, even the boxes that Amazon used to bring you things. You can grow potatoes in them. You can grow soil in them. So you don't need a lot of expense. And then, but if you don't want to make it crappy, I mean, you can also get nice ornamental pots and actually create a beautiful scape that you can sit in your balcony and enjoy your mint growing in your beautiful ornamental pot. You understand? So you're creating beauty and function. So start small, and then believe me, once you start, there's a lot that you can accomplish. However, go to your garden spaces and ask. There are some small garden spaces where you can get advice. At least most of these big stores, they have good garden spaces. So if you're looking for organic soil and all the things you need to be able to grow your things, you can get ginger from the store or turmeric from the store, put it in the pot, and it will still grow. As long as you're not putting chemical in it, it will still come out okay. You can plant your own tomato, you can plant your peppers, you can plant kale, you can plant oregano and all of the other herbs. You can plant rosemary. So those are things that you can plant your onion and your own garlic. Those are very easy to do, even in containers. As the stem keep coming, you keep cutting what you need to cook just whenever you want. So, but these are
But let me
yeah.
ask
So
another question because
yeah.
all these suggestions are great, but someone said to me, okay, so creating a compost and I'm putting in like the vegetables or the food scraps that have all these chemicals in them already, and I'm using that for the compost. Am I not just creating chemical compost and feeling good for myself? Does that
Not
make
really. It breaks down, though it takes a while to break
sense?
down. And then another thing I would tell people, when you buy food from the store, try
Mm-hmm.
and wash it, soak it in baking soda.
That's a good one.
Soak it
Yes.
in baking soda, whether it's fruits or it's vegetable, whatever it is. Soak it in baking soda for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then
Mm.
rinse it out thoroughly. Rinse it out
Mm-hmm.
thoroughly.
Heard
So
of
you
that.
can do that. Yes.
Okay. Baking
So
soda or bicarbonate of soda, both of them interchange.
baking soda, baking soda. I
Okay.
know of baking soda.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Oh, we've learned a
So
lot.
the other part of this was, talking about opportunities when there are challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Every challenge can become an opportunity. So
Yes.
while I was doing this on a small scale, just sharing it with my friends, and people started making demands. And I said, before you know it, it turned into a business. And I
Yes.
got excited. And that was how I now called it sustainable demonstration farms. So I was not only running mine, I was helping other people set up their own. I was teaching and training in this new way of doing things. And then during COVID, when COVID came, there was this lockdown, and we couldn't, particularly our fresh products, we couldn't sell them. So we're dealing with post-harvest loss. So that is where I got the idea to start dehydrating. I
Yeah.
started dehydrating the mushrooms, and then I started grinding them into powders. And slowly I said, oh, if I can dehydrate and grind and powder mushroom, I can powder other things. I started powdering kale. I started powdering ugu. I started powdering scent leaf. And before you know it, we are packaging this and we're making teas, we're making capsules. So we're not just dehydrating. So that was how we have the business initiative where we are now producing teas. And, so it's not only just for culinary use, it's also for medicinal purpose, because by now I have enough clients that are taking this and getting good results. So
Wow.
we're putting them online. They are available online at sdfarms.store. It's also available on our Facebook link. And, so it's just been really an amazing opportunity. So those that are in the US can go to sdfarm.store and they'll see a range of teas, from beetroot tea to lemongrass to oregano to bitter leaf, king of bitter. So it's a wide range of products, and it's just been helping people. Yesterday, during Halloween, I gave one to one of my friend's mother, and she wrote back and said, Stella, my mom said she had the best sleep ever, and that gives me so much joy.
Whoa, that is so impressive. So you talked about how those of us in the United States can get your product. What about if we are, because our audience is global, what about those who are not in the United States? Can they order any of these these products on other storefronts?
Yeah, they can, but we are not global yet because of delivery costs. So it's
Okay.
only in the US that we're online, but I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for investors, people
Okay.
that can work with me. I'm looking for mentors, because half of the time I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just passionate about these things. So I'm looking for those that are in the UK that can be my mentors and coach and distributors, that can find the market in the US, in the UK, in Australia. I'm already talking to someone in Australia, but I'm open to other nations. I'm looking for Europe, because when you look at them online, if you go to sdfarms.store, you could see the wide range of products. And that is really an opportunity for everybody to come on board and help in the distribution chain. We're looking for expansion, and we can also do white label, where if you like the concept and you don't want to market our products and you want your own brand, we can create some of this product in your own brand name, and you handle your marketing. So this way our factory will be busy even when we don't have the order. But I'm really trusting God and trusting the support of my sisters in the diaspora and in Nigeria. I'm needing, like, some of our products in Nigeria, like over here, I have FDA certification. I've been able to get FDA certification for our facility. So all our products can come into the US without any stress. And I don't know what the requirement is in the UK. I'm waiting. I'm looking forward to in Europe. We have the certification called, oh God, that escaped my mind. It's HACCP, hazard analysis and control point. So that is a food certification that ensures that the food is safe. I think that is one of the certifications you need before you can export to Europe. So we have that certification, so our food can be able to enter Europe. In Nigeria, we have NAFDAC number. Nigeria does their own a little differently. You have to have NAFDAC certification for individual products instead of the facility. So we have NAFDAC certification for some of our products. And so we're ready to enter Nigerian pharmacies and Nigerian supermarkets. So we are really ready to make a big business out of this, and appreciate the support. And I need investors, I need partners, I need coaches, I need mentors, and I need those that will buy the product and share their experiences to help other people.
That's why you are here. And so, immediately after this, you're good to be able to talk to the interactive audience member. And that's another opportunity for you to network and spread the word with people who are looking for alternative ways of keeping healthy, not just a conventional way, but also being as natural as possible without all the side effects that we hear from, regular or conventional medicine. And you'll have that opportunity.
Thank you.
And then I wanted to spread this invitation to all of you who are in the audience and those who are listening after this recording to say that if you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me, Paula Okonneh, on my website, which is chattingwiththeexperts.com. You can also get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Just look for Paula Okonneh, or I'm also on IG under, what's my handle? I always have to remember that, at chat_experts_podcast, or on Facebook as Paula Okonneh. Dr. Stella, I am always amazed when I speak with you about your wealth of knowledge and even more so about your passion for what you do. And so now we'll give you an opportunity to talk with the audience members for them to get even more information that we haven't been able to share during this limited space or this limited time of the show. But I want to also say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.